The Rockpile Report.
Buffalo, New York is going to be the epicenter of every stargazing nerd's wet dream.
With Buffalo Bills season ticket holder, Drew Gier.
If there was ever a time to break out Skyline Chili, it's when the Bills are 5-2, right?
The Rockpile Report. The pettiest, hardest drinking Bills podcast.
Everybody to another edition of the Rockpile Report podcast. I'm your host, Bills season ticket holder Drew Gier. That's my producer, Chris Kruger. Riding shotgun tonight is Doug Relosky. And we're here talking about Bills Lions. Now, it's a funny thing, Chris. Now, here we are ahead of...
Is it because I have this delicious beverage right here?
Well, that is
that
fun.
I happen to make. It's called a Lion's Tail, and it is delicious.
It's because it's almost Jesus' birthday, and we are going to get a Super Bowl preview.
I'm going to open a beer because I'm an adult, and I'm not drinking out of that fucking glass. We have Doug Relosky, my buddy in studio, and one of the things that I love is that not only is he a friend of mine, not only has he coached the game of football for years, but also Doug Relosky has been a almost lifelong Detroit Lions fan.
I have a Joey Harrington jersey.
Oh my God.
In my closet.
I would have an easier time admitting that I watched clown porn than admitting that I wear a Joey Harrington, ever wore a Joey Harrington.
I thought he was our savior. You know, now obviously it is Bills first, but if you don't know, half of my mom's side of the family is from Detroit. So my whole life it has been let's go Buffalo and let's go Detroit. Super Bowl, perfect settings, AFC, NFC, let's meet at the end. Let's dance.
And to break down the fourth wall, when Doug walked in the house today, that's when I found out he was on the podcast.
Yeah,
because I'm a professional.
You and showcase Drew's inability to communicate, because if I knew that you were going to be on the show tonight, then I would have had the cameras set up for 3 people being on the show, not just me and Drew.
You messed up.
So, Chris, can people see my friend Doug?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, he set up the cameras.
Now, here's what I love.
You have 3 cameras 5 feet in front of you.
Sure. I'm asking you. I'm not asking the cameras. I'm being a diva, and I'm asking the producer. Are the cameras set?
How can you get mad? Just look at
when this thing's staring at
Just look at Bing Crosby.
Open that and taste it, and I'll tell you exactly how. Guys, Doug is tasting his first White Christmas. Well, he does this by Narragansett, by the way. You know, a fine brewery.
You know what it tastes like? It tastes like I'm sitting in the back of Cousin Eddie's Winnebago. That's what it tastes like. And the couch is a little wet, and he's sitting across from me in a dirty robe. Like, it's noticeable. Like, there's some dirt on his robe, on his light blue robe.
I love it. Guys, before we get into the actual preview of the show, I want to bring something to your consciousness. Let you guys run wild with this. You know that we make a joke out of the city of Tonawanda. To us, the Tonawandas are hilarious because, and I'll kind of break this down. It's one of the few places I've ever met where one half of it acts as though it's better than the other half. Like North Tonawanda gets offended when you accuse them of just being from Tonawanda. They go, no, I'm from North Tonawanda.
What about when if the city of Tonawanda versus town of Tonawanda?
This is it. And then they all infight. And it's like, but you don't understand. The whole area could be burned down and no one would notice.
And it's Tonawanda. That's what they say. It's Tonawanda.
So one of the greatest things to hit my consciousness is the Tonawanda Fire Twitter handle. Doug, I don't know if you've seen this.
No.
So I'm going to pull it up right now on Twitter. Tonawanda Fire. They had a tweet the other day that I had no choice. Tonawanda Fire Alert. Of course, I'm following them. So All it is not an officially connected to Tonawanda Dispatch. First of all, that "and" shouldn't be there. It should just say not officially connected to Tonawanda Dispatch. Notification of incidents wherever possible. Posts to be verified by the parties involved. So it's just one dude at home listening to a scanner. And no woman is doing this. It's got to be a guy.
Can we judge? What do you think this person looks like?
Dude, but so no.
Slightly overweight.
Hang on.
Mom lives upstairs.
Yep.
Hang on.
5'7.5".
Yeah. Yep.
So the one that started all of this.
He definitely has had the new chicken Big Mac from McDonald's multiple times and got really pissed at his mom when she asked
he's also happy that the McRib is back.
Only for the holiday season.
So the complaint was Town of Tonawanda Fire. They were like, oh no, someone called 911. Now these are all calls to the emergency line, not like the regular Tonawanda, like non-emergency line.
So it's the 911 part of Tonawanda.
Yes.
So this is where Brodnicki would do it.
Somebody called 911 to complain that their neighbor was playing. Now it's only 9 p.m. was playing Christmas music and has been for hours loudly and quote unquote, it's becoming extremely annoying. You don't call the fucking cops for this. But also it raises first of all, epic Tonawanda. Also, it raises a question. It's Christmas time. Chris, how much Christmas music is too much for you?
I prefer there to be zero Christmas music. I don't like any Christmas song. Mariah Carey can fuck all the way off.
You're like my wife. My wife doesn't like it. She wants to listen to NSYNC Christmas, and that's it. Because Christmas music in Buffalo, New York starts the day after Halloween. I don't know if you know that. 96.1 starts the day after Halloween. And
see, I fight these people.
It's ridiculous.
But here's my best. Now here's my best, the best to come out of Tonawanda. I want you to see this. Town of Tonawanda, hit and run with injury at Avon, Yorkshire. 46-year-old male was on an e-scooter and was struck. He's reporting body-wide pain. Striking vehicle took off last seen west on Yorkshire. Only description is a small SUV or sedan, white in color.
Why are you on that in December?
I think it was a Suzuki Sidekick.
1 hour later, at Green Acres Road and Fries Road, same caller reporting that he was hit again. He was hit a second time and reporting body-wide pain. Says the car took off. It was gray and blue, driven by a young female. If you get hit by 2 vehicles in 1 hour, you're the fucking problem, not everybody else.
I agree with that.
I don't blame any. Now you're suspect. If I'm a police officer, I want to arrest you. I want to be like, where are you? Because why are so many cars hitting you?
Can we go deeper on this? Let's go deep. What kind of bad karma? What have you done in your life to deserve to get hit by 2 vehicles in 1 hour? Like, and the last one, the girl, she looked at him like this. She was like, like they glanced and she just didn't care. She went off. She's like, this guy's going to touch me, something like that. I'm just going to deal with it.
He's this 46-year-old on an e-scooter. You're already suspect.
You're 46 on an e-scooter in Western New York in December.
Well, yeah.
What are you doing?
After a snowstorm.
What are you doing? Go get a beater and drive that around.
What I love is this idea that somehow this guy felt it necessary to call the emergency line, not once but twice, and go, I've got body-wide pain. Why? I've been hit by 2 cars in less than 45 minutes.
I hope the 911 operator in Tonawanda was like, sir, you need to stop calling.
No, my thing is, if I'm the officer hearing this, I'm like, should we just go put this guy down? Should we just put him down?
It's just ridiculous. Twice in 1 hour. That's really bad luck.
Guys,
and really bad karma.
Thank your first responders. This is the nonsense they have to deal with. Never change, Tonawanda. Don't you ever change. We love it.
Tonawanda.
So that brings us to our Week 15 preview. The Buffalo Bills at the Detroit Lions. Time 4:25 p.m. The place what is it? The Ford Dome, Chrysler Dome?
Ford Field.
One of those things.
Ford Field.
The line has moved. It started Buffalo Bills plus 3.5, and it's now moved to 2.5.
Mm-hmm.
Some of which, I saw instances where a day ago it was down to 1.5, which tells me that it's very much predicated on the injury report. And the fact that they got some good injury news today for the Lions helped push the line the other way.
Yep.
The crew is Adrian Hill. Right off the cuff, Chris, we talked about it. Last week you knew there were some shitbag calls coming.
Yes.
And they did. Craig Rolstad is one of the worst to do this. Like, there's a part of me where it's like at the end of every season, they should count the number of flags you have. And if you cross a certain threshold, then they should give you a promotion the same way Tommy got promoted in Goodfellas. And then they just hire a new group, like a new official. And they just cycle a new guy into the crowd. Or they ask, hey, who wants to do the job next? Don't fuck it up.
But it was you playing the part of De Niro crying in a phone booth when McDermott called the timeout. It was you.
Yes.
It was you.
That was me. On the call, Chris, who do we have?
Nance and Romo. It's on CBS.
So this is the game of the week?
Yes.
Oh, this is a CBS game.
Yes.
So so now for the third time in the 2024 NFL season, the Buffalo Bills are playing the game of the week.
They should.
And you want to tell me, Chris, we already talked about it in the recap. You want to tell me that Josh Allen isn't the MVP?
Yeah, well, we get 4 games this week.
Okay.
2 on CBS, 2 on Fox.
So what do we have in the 1 p.m. window?
1 p.m. is garbage.
What do we got?
Cleveland and Kansas City, Ian Eagle and Chuck Davis.
Cleveland.
And then Fox early is Dallas and Carolina with Kenny Albert and Jonathan Vilma.
Scorcher.
And then we were talking before the show started. Battle of Pennsylvania on Fox at 4:30 as well. So you have 2 games that are going to be
fantastic,
watched everywhere. Yeah, they're both going to be good games. So in case Ben Johnson blows out the Bills, we have something to switch to.
It's a soft J. The J is silent.
He's the Ben Johnson.
And don't say ooh. You can't say that with Dallas and Carolina. You forget that he's an Alabama quarterback and you're a Roll Tide dude for some reason. It's not like you went there or had family members who went there. You're like, I'm just going to be an Alabama fan.
Yeah. When they were in the middle of a bowl ban.
And now they can't even beat SMU in the rankings.
Kalen DeBoer, baby.
Drew became a fan of Alabama when they had Mike Shula, because Drew was at the height of his strip club days.
Strip.
That's how he became a fan of Alabama.
I'm going to look right in the camera for this. For you people who like the show and who listen all the time, Strip Club Drew was outstanding as a human being.
Strip Club Drew got kicked out of some strip clubs. I made fun. This is not a joke. We were at a place called Cheerleaders in Pittsburgh. I'm pretty sure it still exists.
It does still exist.
And a bunch of people who I won't name, some of whom might be sitting in the room with me, went to go get lap dances and left me to my devices. And I ended up getting kicked out of that place because I made fun of the bouncer who had an eye patch. You don't walk around me when I'm drunk with an eye patch. I will make pirate jokes.
And a suit coat. He had a suit coat.
He was dressed to the nines except for the
was.
patch. But pirate jokes. Come on.
It's
low hanging fruit. I'm gonna take
territory. If you have an eye patch in a strip club and it's dark in there, it's got the strip club smell, which is outstanding. You need to have that coming. You need to have a little thick skin.
My thing is when I say to you, like, hey, I make a joke. And he looks at me and goes, 1 more, and you're fucking out of here. And I look at him and go, oh, you're going to make me walk the plank? What? You don't think I'm going to follow through? Don't threaten me.
Peter.
What are you doing? Peter.
Hey, look, it's Steve the Pirate. Yeah.
It's Steve the Pirate.
It is. Strip Club Drew was a fun human being. That also is the same person who fell asleep in a running car. And thank God when we lived in South Buffalo, we didn't have a garage to park a car in because he would have been dead.
Yeah, it was one of the best. Marley just pounding on my door. She's like, Drew's not waking up and I got to go to work and his car is blocking me in. They finally just kicked the door in. I'm not in there. I'm out in the driveway in my car.
Passed out, still with the car running, and I'm pretty sure he went to work then with the same shit he wore the previous day.
False. That was a weekend, I remember, because I did the thing where I was like, and I pulled out, let her go, pulled in, and then just like avoided everyone's stares and just went straight to bed. Took like the most shameful nap ever.
It was awesome, man. I mean, depressed Drew going to Wilson Farms to get Max Ices and just sitting on the couch with a puss on his face. It was so I miss those times, man. Like, I'm glad I'm married with kids, but man, I miss those are good times. Those are good times.
Chris, he truly is the keeper of all my secrets. He
Yes.
knows all my dirty laundry. He's been there for all of the nonsense that has been my existence that led us to this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
So as we jump into this, injuries to monitor is almost where you need to start any kind of a preview for this fucking game. Look at this. For the Buffalo Bills, Dalton Kincaid and Keon Coleman both practiced pretty well today. Now, what I find funny is when I go to BuffaloBills.com and I look for the injury report, notice there's no Bills quoted here. What do you think that is?
I mean, all it was...
Is that gamesmanship?
No, I don't think so, because if you go back and on their Twitter, what they said was the only two that did not practice today were Rapp with a neck injury and then Rasul Douglas. I believe it's back and knee.
Yeah, thanks, Rapp. Good job. Good job, Taylor.
That's his game, though. That's his game, though.
His game is just a human wreck.
That's what he
like
is.
A wrecking ball.
That's exactly what he is. He should have two of those caps on. He should be the dude who's wrapped up like Little Giants.
Here we go. Buffalo Bills injury report. The only DNPs, Rasul Douglas, Taylor Rapp. Whole bunch of fulls, including Keon Coleman, including Dalton Kincaid. That's good to see. It's also good to see Curtis Samuel.
Yeah.
You know, because he hasn't really, like, one catch in the last game. Nothing. He produced nothing. He wasn't a part of the game plan.
Didn't they hand the ball off to him once?
Once.
Yeah, I think they handed it off to him once.
He had a couple of touches. Look at this. Dwayne Smoot. Full practice.
Yeah, which is big.
This is our defensive line that's been much maligned this past week, especially with Casey Toohill being limited. It's a nice thing to see Smoot making a comeback.
Yeah.
He's a guy whose rotational depth we kind of need.
Well, before that injury happened, I mean, if you look at all of them, even Johnson, who I believe he has 2 picks this year as a defensive lineman. Yeah. I mean, that 8-man rotation was outstanding. And Quentin Jefferson and Phillips have done a great job stepping in for the last 4 or 5 weeks. You know, but it's going to be so good to get them back.
Now, in retrospect, I laugh about this. Last week, I thought it was due to injury, but I don't see Kyer Elam anywhere is like an injury, like, hey, we have to give him a designation. Remember when they decided to make him inactive? And then all of a sudden, Rasul Douglas went out, and you're like, oh, shit, I really wish I had an athletic, physical cornerback. Chris, will McDermott ever learn to stop doubting Elam?
No, that'll happen for the rest of eternity.
They trust they trust Jamarcus Ingram more so than Kyer Elam, but Jamarcus Ingram in coverage?
I'm never, ever going to get mad at a low-end draft pick or a walk-on draft pick who makes an NFL roster. I'm never going to get mad at it because you're just playing with house money. Mm-hmm. And that dude has had some very good plays for us. And again, you have him for nothing, and he's basically your college walk-on.
But you want to take a guy who you drafted in the first round off the field to float him on the roster. And then when it comes to hey, actually your number's up. It's time to get in there. You make no game-changing plays. You're not overwhelmingly good at what we brought you here to do.
It just goes to show you that they don't trust him on the back end. They don't. Even though he's had some nice plays for us, especially in some playoff games when he had that pick versus Pittsburgh right after he gave up the touchdown.
Yeah.
Came back the next drive and did it. But we can get into that. I mean, I can remember, you know how I am with the draft. I can remember that specifically. It was Kansas City jumped up ahead of us. They drafted
McDuffie.
They drafted McDuffie out of Washington. And then I think that was the first time we actually saw Bean just appeared to. It was like, okay, I'll take it.
Yeah.
You know, and which is fine. You know, Bean was probably pissed that he lost that McDuffie, and you've seen it. That's why he traded up and a couple spots to get his Kincaid. He's like, I'm not losing this player like this again. So it's live and learn, and it's kind of a wash for me because, yes, they don't trust him and he's missed a little bit, but you smoked it on Benford. And,
and
Benefit in the same
This
draft.
is the Clellan-Farrell Max Crosby combination.
From the Raiders. It's the exact same thing.
Mike Mayock is still an asshole. That's why he's not employed.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that you took your number 4 overall pick and took Clellan-Farrell
Out of Clemson.
who's not even, I don't think he's in the NFL, or if he's on a practice squad.
He is on a team.
I think he's on the Niners.
Yes, I believe you are correct.
Good.
It's the Niners in New England. It was one of those, but you are.
Meanwhile, they got Max Crosby in the 4th round, and no one remembers that because they have Max Crosby.
That's why
close. Washington.
Washington. But that's why it's like it doesn't matter if you're a fan, or say you're the scout, or say you're the defensive coordinator. You don't care if Elam or Beneford plays like a first rounder. You just want one of them to do it, and they did. So you get a pass.
Yeah. So then you change gears and you look at the Detroit Lions, and this is where we start tonight's entire conversation. The injury report for the Detroit Lions is wild.
It's brutal.
And it almost makes their 12-1 record look that much more impressive.
Yeah.
18 players on IR this season.
I believe they have 5 to 7 defensive starters out.
11 total defensive players.
It's crazy.
Their star pass rusher, Adrian Hutchinson.
Hutch. Go blue.
Breaks his leg. It's awful. Box linebacker Alex Anzalone, who has the best flow in the NFL.
Forearm.
Breaks his forearm. Season probably over unless they make like a good run into the playoffs, like deep. Maybe he comes back. Marcus Davenport, defensive end, who was brought in for depth, tears his tricep. Done for the season. He was supposed to be a good rotational piece for him. Rookie cornerback Ennis Rakestraw he was one of the best cornerbacks in this class.
Mm-hmm.
Gets put on IR last weekend over a hamstring tear. So his season's over.
Mm-hmm.
Then you look at the damage in the trenches. You have Taylor Decker. Like when I look at the report right now from the Detroit Lions, Taylor Decker fully participated. He's going to play for the first time in 2 weeks.
Yeah, Skipper played for him. I believe it was the last 2 weeks they started him.
Aleem McNeil. Everyone was hand-wringing because he's the last of their defensive line. Do you guys know that of the 8 potential defensive line starters for the Lions this year, almost all of them are gone? And you're playing all of their backups are now your starters.
I mean, you traded for Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
So he's in there. But yeah, they've been.
Zadarius Smith, Hutchinson. Who else? Like, if I go down the list of IR players.
Think of what you just said. Think of the job that Aaron Glenn has done with that defense.
Yep.
You know, with all of those injuries, all of those starters, and people laughed.
Derek Barnes, linebacker. Kyle Pecco, defensive lineman. John Kaminsky, defensive end on IR. Like, it's every single piece of this team you guys thought you built in the offseason to go win a Super Bowl has gotten hurt, and it hasn't fucking mattered.
And think of people the last couple of years who laughed at them. Like after they drafted Gibbs and when they drafted Jack Campbell out of Iowa. Now look, they're like, well, what are you doing that early? Now look.
Hey, whoa. What do you mean, people? I was watching the draft with you. You were fucking angry.
I was angry at the Gibbs pick. I was angry at the Gibbs pick. Listen, and
how do you feel about it now?
Awesome, man. You got him and Montgomery. It's fantastic.
So with this in mind, when you look at the team health, Taylor Decker, Onzawerke, the defensive tackle, is going to be one to watch. Aleem McNeil seems like he's going to be fine. DJ Reader is a huge one for this game because he's a space eater who can also give a little pass rush. He's what we wanted Daquan Jones to be. Chris, we happened to re-sign him just for the downside of his career, which is nice.
Yeah,
cool.
He had like a good, we're 13 games in, right? And he's had 4 games that have been good. That's it.
And then Josh Pascal, they thought that they could get him back last week. Like Dan Campbell was talking about the idea that the Lions could get him back, but they thought that he could come back before Onzawerke, and they were just like, well, we're not confident really on either of them.
Yeah.
It is raining shit on this team from an injury perspective, and they're still, Chris, 12-1.
They just keep winning, man. And it's I think if you were just a football fan in general, if you turn the ball over 5 times, you lose. Just like last week versus Buffalo. If your quarterback accounts for 6 touchdowns, you win. You just do. And look what happened. The Lions turned the ball over 5 times versus Tampa Bay a couple weeks ago. Nah, hold my beer with our USFL kicker. We got this, and they win. And then just like last week, Josh Allen goes absolutely nuts.
Wasn't that Houston?
The USFL Houston team?
No,
Houston. Yeah, not Tampa. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, Houston 5 turnovers.
Yeah, they lost. Their one loss came to Tampa Bay this year. Came to Tampa Bay, team who they beat last year in the postseason.
Which is hysterical when you think about how different those teams are.
Yeah.
And you think about how weird this is. So, guys, when we're talking about who is the Detroit Lions, what are we going to have to contend with? Chris, we're going to do this a lot earlier than we mean to, but I just want to get right into this. First of all, just to give him some qualification, just so you all know that he's not talking out of his ass. How long have you been a Detroit Lions fan? Joey Harrington thing.
I'm 38 years old, and I believe Joey Harrington was drafted in 2002.
Okay. So most of your adult life.
Yeah. I mean, I can remember, again, it's Buffalo. It's Buffalo. Let's go. We're going to do this. But I remember sitting down and watching on Fox. I remember Herman Moore. I remember Barry Sanders. I remember Scott Mitchell. All of it. I remember watching it all, and those stupid gray helmets and the weird blue nothing on them jerseys. You remember those that they would wear for Thanksgiving?
Yes.
It's just terrible. It was just terrible. So it's been a minute. This is like, for me and my family, this is the best case scenario. Like, it is.
You and I have talked about it.
Like, this is
he and I had a conversation where he was like, "Oh, if the Bills and Lions are playing in the Super Bowl, you got to come with me." And I was like, "No. Your Detroit family has to come to Buffalo. That way, no matter who wins, we throw a 3-day party."
If that happens, if it happens, they are coming up. Everyone is coming up. It is a huge party at one of my family members' house on Saturday, and then it is my house for the game on the 98-inch television. It'll be fully catered, and it'll be just.
Let's remind everyone that what's it called? A Polish garage that you have?
I believe they call it the Polish patio. Even though I'm not Polish, it's Relosky with a Y. So we're Slovak and Romanian. So we're the handicapped cousins beneath them, which that's just how it is. But it would be like, again, to someone who's a fan, I mean, I think a lot of people are like this in whatever sport it is. Say it's hockey, say it's your baseball fan, you're a football fan. It's always nice to have an NFC team and an AFC team if you can have it. Like, just like in baseball, if you had an AL and an NL team or a West Coast team in hockey, and, you could be a Kings and a Sabres fan. What's the problem? They play each other once a year, twice a year. What's the problem? You can do that. So
people be mad that the Kings fleeced us for Eric Rasmussen.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. But, like, it's just so cool to see, because just like last year, I made it out the day before the snowstorm, right?
Yeah.
I got to go to the Bills-Steelers game, got delayed, thank God. And I got to go to the first time in 30-something years, a Lions home playoff game versus the Rams, which was awesome. It was insane. Now, it wasn't as good as the Bills' perfect game versus New England in the playoffs. That was freaking ouch. That was just, it was so much fun. And then, do you remember the dildo on the field?
No, I don't.
You don't remember when they scored? New England scored a touchdown at the end, and some dude threw the dildo right in the field. It was a pink dildo on the field. You can't beat that. That's just good old-fashioned family fun. But think about this, to do that and to go to a playoff game, to see them win a home playoff game in the first time almost 40 years, and then to drive back in a snowstorm, get home, clean out your garage, clean out your driveway, and then go to Bills Steelers and watch Josh Allen go, "I'm going to slide. No, I'm not going. I'm going for a touchdown."
Yeah, he goes, 40 yards. Suck it.
It's just, if you're a sports fan in general, it's like being a little kid on Christmas and getting that gift that you wanted all year. It's getting that PlayStation. It's getting that Xbox. It is. It's so cool. I'm just happy for my family and I to be able to watch it. Now, that said, we can see what I'm wearing. This is Bills all day. The Red Wings have gotten Detroit some championships, and Michigan had just gotten them one for college football. Let the Bills get some. This is our turn.
Exactly.
It's our city's turn.
And this is where I love where your fandom's at and just how you've analyzed these teams, so we can have this conversation. Now, Chris, I don't usually do this early in the show, but I just want to declare this entire conversation the keys to victory.
Wow, that's a lot of keys. Bigger the keychain, more powerful the man.
There's a lot to clean up from last week. And one of the first things I noticed when I look at the Detroit Lions, it's Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery. Now, I remember being in the room with you when they drafted Gibbs and just how upset you were.
I couldn't.
Let's classify that. Wasn't necessarily a room as much as it was a garage.
A garage. But I was in a garage with you that is basically a room.
Yeah, no cars have ever been parked in there. There's 98-inch on the wall. There's bars. There's
He has
couches.
a 98-inch TV on the wall.
It's with LEDs. It's fantastic. It's good. And it's nice, too, because it has a sports setting. So when the Bills have the ball, it's blue. If they're playing the Jets, when the Jets have the ball, it's green. But they don't have it long because the Jets stink. But, yeah, it's very, very – it's awesome.
So he was pissed about Jameer Gibbs.
Because you know how we and you think alike with running backs.
I don't care about them.
I'm the same way. I'm the exact same way.
And this is the thing. Last year, the Detroit Lions made waves because the idea was they throw the ball. They throw the ball all over the place. Look at how great Jared Goff is. It's why everybody in fantasy football. Oh, geez, I burped in the microphone. Professional podcaster over here. It's why everybody and their mother this year in fantasy football was betting on Jared Goff taking that next step. Like, oh man, I could bank later on getting him in the 6th, 7th round and having him transform my fantasy team. And what you find out is this team, yes, he has his days. Mm-hmm. The Green Bay game, he had an epic game. But it drives through the run because they are what their coach wants them to be. See, these are two teams that didn't have a culture. These are two teams that were bereft of any sort of success. They have no Super Bowls to hang their hats on. They have no pedigree. And then in 2017, Sean McDermott showed up here and decided, hey, we're going to be something different. And we're going to, this is a referendum on everything that this franchise has ever been. And we will be something different. And then a couple years later, here comes Dan Campbell. And everyone laughed, myself included, when he's talking about biting kneecaps off during press conferences.
Can I tell you something about Dan Campbell and I think it only applies to blue-collar franchises. You got to have a head coach that encapsulates everything about your city.
Yes.
So when you hear Dan Campbell go, we're biting kneecaps, and you go, all right. But that is something someone from Detroit would say, that we bite kneecaps.
Not just from Detroit, but
he embodies the city, and it's perfect. And it only, I think, happens with blue-collar teams.
100%. If you tried to pull that in L.A., no one would give a fuck.
Dan Campbell is not, he's not going to coach in, I know he played there, but he's not going to coach in Miami.
No.
He's not going to coach the Rams.
Nope.
He's not doing it. That's not where he is. And it's funny that you said that about this, because I remember it was 2 years ago, I believe it was. They had a thing where I was on NFL Network. It was training camp, and they showed Sean McDermott, and he was walking around in the morning. It was still inside the building, and he was walking around, and he was eating Raisin Bran. He was eating Raisin Bran out of his bowl, and I believe he had a banana as well. He's a healthy guy. He's a wrestler. He knows how to protect his body. Like, he's just seems like. Remember the pyramid of eating right? He's the dude that would come in and talk to health class. Like, he's that guy. Like, he is that guy, what we all grew up with. Then, the very next day, because again, we're not that far from Detroit, NFL Network was in Detroit. You know what Dan Campbell was doing? Not inside the building. This is when they were stretching.
Was this the espresso?
Nope.
Quote.
He was walking around eating a smoked turkey leg. Just walking around, and then he was sprinting with the guys and warming up and stretching. I'm like, this dude is a psycho, and I love him, and I wish he kept his long hair from when he was playing.
But you need that.
Yeah, absolutely. You're telling me you wouldn't follow that guy? Either man.
That's my
you
point.
Wouldn't follow either man in the battle?
They both found a way to carve out a niche for themselves.
Yeah, you're not getting anywhere with Marty Morningwig. You can't have a Democrat coach the Detroit Lions.
No, you can't.
What I love about both these coaches is they built a culture that didn't exist before they arrived. And that culture is, we're going to play hard-nosed football, and we're going to be gutsy, and we're going to take chances. But then Dan Campbell took it and put it on steroids and was like, hey, I don't give a shit. And now you look at it, your whole Jahmyr Gibbs thing. For all the throw it around the yard stuff that Jared Goff can do, and all the things those wide receivers with Jameson Williams and Amon-Ra St. Brown, everyone who took him in the first round or second round of fantasy football this year.
You could throw it all out.
He realized that in order to win a Super Bowl, what he needed to do was build a tough football team. Mm-hmm. And so what did he do? He said, injuries be damned. We will be hard-nosed on defense.
They run that ball.
Brian Branch.
Yeah.
Tell me that Alabama son. You'd say you're an Alabama fan for whatever reason. Tell me he doesn't know how to play A-level football. Terrion Arnold.
Brian Branch, Arnold, Joseph. They just have nasty dudes who know how to play football and who are coming to stick it to you.
And this is the thing. He built a culture of, I want stick-it-to-you players.
Like Buffalo's defense.
And then he drafted Jahmyr Gibbs, and he brings in David Montgomery in free agency, and everyone goes, oh, you said it. You're like, we have Swift. What the fuck do we need him for? They have 1,700 combined yards.
They're gross.
Chris, this offensive line is a road grader. And last year it was all about the pass protection.
Not
this year it's about, we're weaponizing the run. We are a run-first offense that also can pass at a high level. Yeah. And that makes them incredibly dangerous. Chris, what are the Buffalo Bills this year? A run-first offense that can pass.
That's what McDermott wanted.
And you know
finally.
And you know what? And it's not just one guy. Like if you look at Detroit, Penei Sewell is gross. That dude not only can pass block, that dude is a mauler who will absolutely get his paws on you and just drive you into the ground. And then you look at Buffalo. Spencer Brown is just like that. Deion Dawkins, just like that. Torrance, outstanding how he's been, So when you have that, and just like Ragnow in Detroit, their center, that dude's he's outstanding. And if you have that, that's where, why not run the ball? Because Jared Goff, MVP conversation, right? The whole year, even after having a 5-interception game. It's okay. You can have a bad game. Josh Allen, the absolute leader right now of the MVP voting. Like, not even close. These are quarterbacks, but their offensive lines are just maulers who take after their head coach, though, as well.
Sure.
Dan Campbell, nasty. Sean McDermott, did you see his press conference today? Saying they were asking him what he wanted to clean up, and he was talking about the defensive line, and he basically, and you could see the nastiness in his face. You could pull it up. Chris, you could pull it up. You could find it. You could see the nastiness in McDermott's face. He goes, there needs to be accountability in that defensive line, and you need to bring it every single, like, I wanted to go back and play. Like, I'm watching, this is a press conference on a Wednesday, and I'm just watching this guy, and I'm like, dude, he is so mad that they gave up 40-something points. He is God.
And this is where we start about talking about how you win this game. The defensive line has an opportunity here against the front seven to redeem themselves. Mm-hmm. Now, I'll tell you what. You want to talk about strength on strength or strength on weakness?
Hat on a hat?
And what makes you angry? Penei Sewell, best run blocker on the Lions team.
Mm-hmm.
Ragnow and Zeitler in the middle of that offensive line are animals.
Yeah, they're gross.
And Ed Oliver is going to have to go out there and earn some of that money that he's just been running around collecting all year.
Mm-hmm.
Like we joked about it in the recap. He's basically just been out there doing cardio.
It's fair. It's always fair, especially in sports, just in life in general. Just be honest. You can call a spade, okay?
Yeah.
He has not lived up to that contract this year, and I think it's the first time since he's been with us that it's happened.
I think the problem is everyone got hyped on what he was doing, and Daquan Jones took a step back, and you watched Ed Oliver shrink with him.
You did, and I mean, I don't want to get into it yet because I know you don't like it, but I want to say it real quick. They are going to address that early in the draft.
Sure, I'm positive.
They are going to address that early in the draft on the defensive line.
We're about to play an offensive line full of veteran guys who are rugged. They're tough. They're nasty. They take after their coach.
I can't wait. I hope they line up Rousseau on Sewell. I do. I hope they do. Well, I don't know. Decker's just coming back, so maybe they're going to want to say, okay, let's see how back you are. Go ahead, Rousseau. Go get some.
But I'll tell you what.
I can tell you this from the X's and O's type that I am. I do remember Rousseau's rookie season. He went up against Sewell in the preseason. I do like that matchup only for the fact that when Rousseau can extend his hands, Penny Sewell's arms are short and couldn't get to Rousseau's torso. I saw it in the preseason, and that's the only time I've ever had a football brain is watching that.
Well, I
do like that matchup.
I hope it's going to be, as a football fan, it is going to be fun because both of these offenses and their offensive lines and their running games and their passing games, it's going to be a buzzsaw. It's going to be a nasty physical. Your bloody nose. You got blood on the middle of your jersey.
You got to win that. And here's what I'll say for the Buffalo Bills. It's going to be paramount that in the interior of the defensive line, you guys have to find some fucking composure. You cannot do what you did last week. You can't give up the runs. You can't give up the blockers. You can't let a guard penetrate to the second level. You've got a Matt Milano who's still trying to knock the rust off.
Yeah,
when
gets a pass.
When you allow guys to get on him at the second level, to expect him to be able to get off that and just shed and tackle the way that he used to, that's asinine.
Yeah, the dude missed 15 games last year and 12 games this year.
You guys all weigh 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Quit your bitching. I used to weigh 350. Now, obviously, I couldn't swim move people in the NFL, but what I can tell you is I used to put down an entire
You could if you were in line at Mighty Taco.
Yes, I could swim move my way through a line at Mighty Taco. What I'll say to you is this. Watching this line, this is going to be, to your point, McDermott probably looked tight. Can you imagine what he's saying to those guys in the locker room this week?
God, he's just...
Guys, earn your fucking check. I'm having flashbacks with Ed Oliver to what... we talked about this. I digress. What I know is...
I digress.
We didn't fare last week, and we have to see a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you have to start thinking about guys like Austin Johnson. You go, do I need an Eli Ankou more than I need you? Who do I need to shuffle into this lineup to get some composure?
Mm-hmm.
And so with that in mind, knowing that they're going to bring a strong rushing presence, you have to have that. What else makes them dangerous is the aggression. And so what you have to be, if you're the Buffalo Bills defense, you better be watching film this week. And I'll give you an example of why. First of all, the Lions have one of the most unorthodox approaches to offense in the NFL. It's what gives them an advantage every week over every team.
They take advantage of all four downs.
They are aggressive to a fault. And I'll explain what I mean by that. Last week, the Lions played the Green Bay Packers.
I know where you're going.
The ball is on their own 30, and it's 4th and 2. And their coach goes, nah, fuck it, we'll roll the dice. We're going to run the ball. Now,
Goff fell down.
Goff
fell down.
Falls down while he's trying to hand the ball off.
Got tripped.
And it ends up being tackled for a loss. Everyone's going nuts. The Packers roll in, score a touchdown 3 plays later. All of a sudden, it's a ball game. This was one that the Lions were threatening to run away with. That play opened the door for the Green Bay Packers to step right in, make it a close game before halftime. Now you have a fist fight, and you're going back and forth through the second half. You get to the fourth quarter. The game on the line. You have a choice. I can kick the field goal right now, take a lead, and give them a minute of clock to work with. Or, Doug, fuck it. I can roll the dice on 4th and 3 and tell them to kiss my ass.
That's what he did.
Because I think I'm a better team than you.
And that's what he did.
And instead he went out and got the 4 yards.
Which, if you, I mean, again, you can talk about the similarities in both coaches, but it was just shocking.
Reckless.
It was just, that's a perfect word for it, because I watched the Lions absolutely blow it. And
where was your blood pressure when they were going for it? When you're like, oh my God, why aren't they kicking this field goal?
I stood up. I stood up. I got out of the chair and I stood up, and I'm like, well, I get it. I understand, but your defense has been playing pretty good. Kick the friggin' ball here and do it. But again, you said reckless. Again, it's worked for him. But what lessons are you learning from blowing it in an NFC Championship game versus the Niners last year?
Yep.
And you're being reckless still. It's just like we were talking earlier.
It's who he is.
And I think that's fair with who we are in McDermott.
Yep.
Because
we talk about Sean McDermott's sometimes conservative nature. Butting him in the ass.
We thought it does, but on the other hand, too, like where a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how he went for it on the 4th and 2 versus Kansas City. You're not going to kick a field goal, go up by 5, and just give the ball back to Mahomes. That. He's lived it. It's bit him in the butt. So you don't want to do that. He does the right call. What does he do? He puts the ball in Josh Allen's hands. Fine with that. But then you take a step back and you're careless. I'm not saying that it was the wrong call to go for the quarterback sneak this past week for the Bills because it's worked 99% of the time. But have another play in mind. Get up, waste 12 seconds if you have to. Don't call your time out and handcuff yourself to an onside kick.
So the difference is the Lions have a benefit in the fact that their coach is just, I don't give a fuck what happens. We will live and die by the sword of aggressiveness.
If he could coach in a wife beater, he would.
And he would probably have that smoked chicken leg in his hand during games.
If
you offered him one, he would take it. One of my favorite games ever, they were somewhere where it was pouring rain and everybody else had jackets on and he was out there in a t-shirt. Headset. Just, I don't give a fuck.
Now, I know it's 2024 and everyone's healthy and everything like that. I really wish that he was allowed to smoke on the sideline. It would just be, it would be so much fun. You imagine your son's going, Dad, what's that guy doing? He's living his best life.
So this is the thing, the aggressiveness. But then we talked about the goal line play. So how it opened up. Have we talked about this?
Mm-hmm.
Here's the other side of this aggressiveness that like they bring in an unorthodox nature that you have to be able to account for. And this is why the Bills have to be at home doing their film study. There was a game in this there was a play in this Green Bay game that really just shocked me and opened my eyes to how dangerous this team is going to be. Because you thought you knew what the Rams were. And the Rams lined up and gave it to you.
They sure did.
The Lions are going to line up and they're going to trick you. And they're going to pull. It's almost like a hockey fight. You're going to get your shirt pulled over your face sometimes. And you're going to have to be ready for it. Perfect example. They have the ball on the 4-yard line. Green Bay is all set up with their base defense out there, ready to, hey, we're not going to let these assholes run it up the middle. They're lined up in shotgun, but we know they like to run. And all of a sudden, at about like, there's probably 25 seconds left on the clock, the play clock, 20 seconds. The outside corner finally realized that when they broke the huddle, Amon-Ra St. Brown is in the backfield as a running back. Now, he did a smart thing. He crouched. He's small. You see a helmet, you understand running back, there's a running back in the backfield, but you're looking for numbers on the jersey, right? Like you coached football.
Mm-hmm.
The best way that you know who's playing where is just by what is their number?
Right.
Where are they? What's happening? When you see 18 in the backfield, you go, oh, fuck. Oh, no, guys, chaos. That's
14.
14? That's not a running back.
Right.
We're done here. That starts with a 1. That's no running back.
Right.
Oh, shit. And then they start looking around, and that cornerback realizes Gibbs is lined up out wide. And now it's a Chinese fire drill in the Green Bay secondary. They're on the 4-yard line, mind you. It's Amon-Ra St. Brown in the backfield, offset from Jared Goff. Jared Goff's in the shotgun. Gibbs is actually split out wide to the left. Now they're trying to communicate all the way around the horn like, holy fuck, there's a wide receiver back there and we're in a tight window. Somebody cover this guy. Because realistically, we've seen what Amon-Ra St. Brown can do.
Mm-hmm.
You put the ball in his hands, he's shifty, he's fast, it's 4 yards. They snap the ball. Everybody sucks in towards Amon-Ra St. Brown. Tim Patrick walks into the end zone over a linebacker who didn't hear it. He didn't hear any of the communication going on. And Tim Patrick just walks in and catches the ball. Touchdown.
And how similar right now are these offenses. You know what I mean? Our Gibbs is Cook. Our Tim Patrick is Hollins, who has had some very, very nice catches.
Hollins is a dirty motherfucker.
He is.
I love him.
Like they're very similar. And let's give him some credit too right now. Gier has been an absolute beast for us on 3rd and 4th downs. He has been.
On every down.
That dude's he's so good. I want him to get paid immediately. I want him here. I want him to stay here. He is just so clutch. And I think, again, they're just so similar in the way that they play the game is why I can't wait for Sunday at 4:25. It is going to be it is going to be Hagler and Hearns if you're a boxing fan from the 80s. It is just going to be a bloodbath both ways. Every single 3-minute round is going to be let's go toe-to-toe and who blinks.
They're going to press their advantage whenever they have it. When it's if it's 4th and 4. Regardless of where it is on the field, if you're threatening them. Now, if you're not threatening them, they might punt. But I also think that they're smart enough to know what Josh Allen is. And they know they have to bury us.
Well, they do because
they're not idiots.
And they they don't forget. Basically, this entire team has played us before.
Yes.
We beat them at Thanksgiving.
On a last-second wild finish.
It was a crazy throw to Diggs.
Yep.
It was a crazy throw by Josh. It was a great catch by Diggs.
And they know what Josh is capable of. So this coach is already banging the drum of, hey, this guy has skunked us before when we played well enough to win. Mm-hmm. So let's go out there and bury him.
Yeah.
So they're going to be hyper aggressive. Now, if you're Sean McDermott, you have to be
You just gave up 44 points. If you think he's not wearing a plastic bag now, sweating it out and spitting at people on the defensive meetings, I'm just telling you, forget personal space. He is in every meeting, the D-line, the linebacker room, the cornerback, the safety room. And if you don't think he went to your boy Reed and went in his face and said, I need perfection every snap, every play. Dude.
I don't even know if it would be that aggressive. He would more just be like, hey, execution is what it takes. Mm-hmm. And that's not just to be a long snapper in the NFL. That's to keep a job at long snapper in the NFL.
So if you're going up against that and you know that this coach is going to be unorthodox and he's going to pretty much go for it on 8 out of 10 4th downs, and he's going to –
he'll roll the dice because he sees you as a threat.
So guess what? They are a threat versus us as well. You better come up with the same thing. Joe Brady and Ben Johnson are like, dude.
And Chris, that's the last key to victory is – can our coordinators rise to the occasion of what is a coaching staff that has been – they've kind of bent the knee to the will of their head coach and just said, listen, we'll be the Blitzkrieg football team then, I guess. We will just be all offense all the time. We're full go, full send every time.
If you say you're one of the guys you guys talk to on a regular basis, one of the beat guys from Miami or the Jets.
This defense.
How can you not want to watch this? This is going to be amazing.
This defense is gettable, right? Like teams have moved the football on them. Like if I take a look at this and I look at their defensive performance, total yards, they gave up 298 total yards against Green Bay. Okay, you know them, right? They give up 301 against the Bears. They gave up more yards to the Bears than they did the Packers. And I feel like some of that has to do with the fact that they took the Bears lightly and they took the Packers as a threat. But now you're injured, and it's just when you watch this, like their defense doesn't hemorrhage yardage, but there's plays to be had. Because when you look at the opposing team's score, they played Jacksonville, Chris, and it was 6. Like, if you're only box score watching, it doesn't tell the story. They beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 52-6, but it's the Jaguars. You beat the Colts 24-6, but it's the Colts.
And we put up 30 on the Colts.
You beat the Bears barely.
Division games are different.
Weird game.
Division games are weird.
Green Bay Packers. Weird game. Well, how about this? Now you're playing a team that's not even in the AFC. Here's what I love. The last time they played an AFC team, Chris, Houston Texans, 26-3, and it was a close one.
That was the one we were just talking about, the 5 interception game. that was that.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be, I don't know if any media people will sense it, but I wonder how many people are thinking that this game is going to be Rams-Chiefs from 2018 on Monday night. A 54-51 type game.
I just told him I believe the over is 52 or 54 and a half.
Mm-hmm.
You can go. I'm giving out free advice here. Go bet the over. Go bet the over. It's gonna be an absolute. If you want this week for both sides, if this is not the week for your defense to get right.
According to the Yahoo app, it is 54.5.
Jesus. Now, I just want to tell you guys something. I believe in I'm religious and stuff like that. I just want to tell you something. My sister and her husband.
We can't see your cross.
My sister, relax. You're lucky. It's a tracksuit. My sister and her husband, they're in Michigan. They're going to the game, and she's at a Chinese restaurant right now in Michigan. She just sent me a picture. Look what her fortune cookie says. Go ahead, Drew. Read that.
Trust your instincts this Sunday and make bold decisions.
Come on. What? What? That's real life.
That's hilarious.
Tell me that. I got goosebumps. I can't. I wish they're playing tonight. Can we play Thursday and Sunday? Like they just practice together. The Lions and Bills just practice together all week. They play Thursday. They take ice baths together. They train together, and then they play again Sunday. Why not? Can we do that?
Our dream scenario is these two teams meeting in the Super Bowl because it would be the best house party anyone's ever seen.
Dude, it would be
win or lose. We're gonna party like it's 1999. In honor of our late Prince.
It would just be R.I.P. on Lake Minnetonka. Like it would just be amazing. It would be that 2 week period of getting amped up and then watching, Chris said it earlier, watching two blue collar Rust Belt teams down in New Orleans. In a party city, talking it up, everything like that. It would be fun for both fan bases. It would be good for the league. I understand that the league probably wants their New York market and the LA markets always in there. I get it. Ratings, money. But look at what just happened. The Bills-Kansas City game. It got better ratings than the opening ceremonies of the Olympics. And I believe it was the most watched regular season game since 2007. It's insane. What do you think this Super Bowl would be? It would be crazy.
The Bills have opportunities to make plays. The linebacking core of the Lions is weak. Their cornerback play is average, but the vibes are off the charts. And that's the problem. They're a team that feeds on vibes. So if you're the Buffalo Bills, you got to come in here and you got to make a statement quick. And then you got to lean. It's all gas, no brakes.
You either got to get Goff on the ground or force him into a mistake.
Your defensive line. I need Ed Oliver to earn some of that money he hasn't so far. I need guys who have not stepped up in 2 weeks to step up. I need to see play. Offensively. Everyone loves what we've done offensively. The problem is now you got to do it against a team that knows you can do it. Mm-hmm. No one's seen the Bills put up 40 like that. A screen pass. A successful screen game. No one's ever seen it.
Can you just say to who it was and say it correctly? Ex-Jet. Ty Johnson.
Ty Johnson.
It was so nice. We got him for, I just want to let you guys know we got him for free.
Yeah, we got him for free.
He's awesome.
And this is where it's like, look, they're going to have the tape on it. And now you're not getting away with that again. So now what else do you have? And let's roll the dice with a team that we might see in the Super Bowl. It's must-watch TV, and there's a lot of avenues the Bills can take. I like our speed on the edges. I like the fact that if they can, I like more so than I did last week against that front seven. I like James Cook this week against them.
Outside.
Wheel routes, outside, off tackle.
Outside, C-gap and outside.
What I don't love is just this matchup of vibes where it's coach versus coach. There's coach who goes, I want everything to be disciplined and everybody to stay inside the lines. And I have Campbell who goes, I want you to destroy everything in front of you. And I don't give a fuck whether we win or lose. We're going to go out swinging. It's like, well, one of these philosophies, like this is a collision course for NFL philosophy.
I can't wait.
And we're going to watch it play out. And the difference is we have the nuke. We have Josh Allen. We have a quarterback who can make a guy like Mac Hollins and just weaponize him against you. And there's nothing you can do about it.
It's crazy.
You have a Jameson Williams? Cute. You have an Amon-Ra St. Brown? You know what I have? It doesn't fucking matter. I'm Josh Allen.
Right. Yep.
Chris, who do you think wins this game? I'm not going to ask you win with the spread. Who do you think wins or loses the game? Plus 2.5.
I think it's going to be Buffalo 31-28. It's going to come down to T-Bass.
Do you not think they beat the spread? 2.5?
They're going to win by 3. It's going to be close, and it's going to be somewhat high scoring.
Doug, your prediction.
That was super close to what I was thinking. I was thinking, do you remember the Miami game that was here when we beat them in the snow for the division?
Yeah.
We kicked the field goal at the end. It's going to be something like that. It's going to be 34-31, something like that.
But you like the Bills?
I do. I think getting embarrassed like that on defense is uncharacteristic.
It is.
Team. And it's been that was the most points they gave up since 2018. Is that correct?
Yes.
I believe that's what it was. So that's a very long stretch to go and not give up that kind of, destruction and playing that poorly on defense, even though one of the touchdowns was special teams, but it still counts because McDermott says it every week in a press conference. He loves all 3 phases. And I think they get it right. I think that was a good thing for the defense because they know if they don't give it their all versus these teams, and again, it's another team who's primed to go somewhere. They just got their dick slapped by an ex-Super Bowl winning quarterback. He played like he was 28 years old. He wasn't missing throws. He was doing everything. So we'll see what happens, but I'm going to go 34-31 Buffalo. I think they cover the over. Like I said, I like the over here, and I like the Bills here. I do. I think they're going to get a mistake out of Goff. And if you're just looking at it, who do you trust more, Allen or Goff? Because I know that defensive line, offensive line, running backs, this is still the NFL.
Wait, so you're saying you think we have a takeaway?
It's still quarterback matchup. I think they win the takeover battle, and I think that helps them, and they win.
So I've been over here trying to chat GPT my way to. What I want to know is, what is his record after a loss? Chat GPT. Somebody
Can't be many.
Josh Allen is 2-0 versus Goff. I know that. He's 2-0 versus Goff.
Sean McDermott.
Plus, they lost 2 in a row earlier this year, so that's one instance of it.
They did.
The
Bills
don't really. It's not working. Chat GPT is down.
They don't really lose 2 in a row, and Buffalo never loses more than a score.
Mm-hmm.
When they lose.
No.
And I think, again, if you look at it, so if you come down to just whatever network you watch, ESPN, NFL Network, whatever show you watch, Fox Sports.
If
it comes down to both of these teams are pretty evenly matched, would you say that's fair?
100%.
Okay.
The difference is
if it comes down to
mindset.
If it comes down to that, I look at quarterback.
100%.
And in my opinion, and I'm a fan of both teams, and I know Goff has been to a Super Bowl, and Josh has not been there yet. Allen is better than Goff.
This is where I'm following you, and I want to close the show at this point. When you guys talk about, this game is close, and they did this, and everybody loves Jordan Love. Everybody loves this guy. He's a darling in the NFL, and he's the next guy to get paid a ton of money.
Been impressive when he gets on his hot streaks.
Okay. If I were to tell you that there's no quarterback who can statistically touch what our guy is doing right now,
I know.
It's not an exaggeration. I want to read off some stats to you. Do you know when the last time he turned the ball over was? October 27th. We're here in December. He doesn't have a turnover. There's no interceptions. Right? Since October 27th. And mind you, do you know how many he has in the season?
5?
5.
After what we watched for over 15 years with your Lostmans and your Trent Edwards and Fitzy being the best one out of the group, But after what we watched, I don't.
He literally, Josh
I don't
Allen
take
literally took all those quarterbacks, crushed them up, and snorted them before he went on the field.
I don't take him for
on Sunday.
I don't take him for granted. I enjoy watching every game. That's why it doesn't devastate me when they lose a game like that, just because of watching this guy. So when he does throw a pick, when he does fumble the ball, I'm not going to get mad and yell. This dude is the best quarterback that we have ever seen. And that's coming from a fan base who had a guy take someone to 4 straight Super Bowls. It's crazy.
In 7 of his games this year, he's had over a 65% completion percentage.
Like,
do you know how long we've been fighting for that?
And this is where the MVP conversation shouldn't even be close. And this is not being a homer. This is not. If you take Saquon Barkley, who's had an outstanding year, and he's probably going to break the record.
We're going to talk about that.
It's just, it's crazy.
Yeah, people have already heard it. We've already talked about it. Here's what I love. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 9 games this season, he's at a QBR over 100. You can all kiss my ass. This guy is the balls. And if you just give him that's why I'm so focused on the defense, because if you give him a little semblance of anything, he finds a way to make Mac Hollins useful, make Khalil Shakir look like a superstar. You gave him Amari Cooper and they tried to force feed him in order to get him acclimated with the quarterback faster. We're trending that way. There's no reason that you shouldn't be able to go out there and give the Lions fucking everything. Kitchen sink these dickheads.
Everything you got. No need to hide it now.
This is your playoff preview.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're about to play a slate of games we talked about in this week's recap that are a walkthrough. You have one more game against a team that you might if all the cards fall correctly, you might see again.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck them. Kitchen sink these guys, empty the clip, and figure it out afterwards.
Bring it out.
Chris, Babbage and Brady have their job cut out for them.
Yeah, bring out the gold chain.
I want to see speed on the periphery. I need to see them attack that linebacker core. You know, losing both starting linebackers and then their best backup, done. You have to get on them. I don't care how you do it. I don't care if it's Shakir. I don't care if it's Kincaid. I don't care if it's running backs out of the backfield. They are the weakness of this defense.
This is the definition of a heavyweight fight.
Dude, I can't wait to see it.
This is Michigan, Ohio State. This is the Yankees versus Boston. This is the Lakers versus the Celtics. This is what it is.
Kobe versus that mountain.
This is what it is. This is the top two. This is the top 2 teams.
Chris finds a way to make it offensive.
I love it. This is the top 2 teams going at it and saying, let's go.
I love it. Guys, I've had fun tonight, but we got to get the hell out of here. I'm Drew Gier. That's Chris Kruger. This is Doug Relosky. And this has been your Rockpile Report.